All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are peeling back the layers on a really complex and frankly, controversial figure from the hacking world, someone who calls himself Spydirbyte. And our guide through all this is a very unique biography that tries to tell his story.
And wow, right out of the gate, we get hit with this quote. This one line from Spiderbite himself, it just sets this incredibly stark and intense tone for everything we're about to cover. It tells you right away, this is not just a story about computers and code. It's rooted in something way deeper and much, much darker.
So, the big question is, who is the person behind the name? Well, he's a hacker who claims to have deep ties to the anonymous collective. Everything we're talking about today, it all comes from this biography written by a cybersecurity expert named Alberto Daniel Hill. And here's the thing, as you're about to see, the person telling the story is almost as important as the story itself.
To really get a handle on the hacker, the book argues that you first have to understand the pain. So his story doesn't kick off with a keyboard or a line of code. It starts with a deeply traumatic childhood that supposedly forged the person he would later become.
According to the biography, his origin is built on a foundation of just awful experiences. We're talking about the loss of his biological mother, a period of really extreme isolation, and what he describes as severe abuse from a stepmother, a person he chillingly refers to as a monster.
And then came this really pivotal moment. When he was just 15, he claims he was targeted by two of the most dangerous forms of online harassment out there, doxing and swatting. But here's the twist. Instead of scaring him off the internet for good, this whole ordeal apparently did the exact opposite. It lit a fire under him.
Now, just in case you're not familiar, doxing is when someone takes your private information. We're talking your real name, your address, your phone number, and just dumps it online for the entire world to see. It's an absolutely profound violation of your privacy.
And swatting, well, that is way more dangerous. It's when someone makes a fake emergency call to send a heavily armed police response, like a SWAT team, storming into your home. It is a potentially lethal act. He claims that experiencing this firsthand made him want to master these very same tactics.
So you see, this trauma becomes the bedrock of his digital identity. All that early anger starts to merge with technology, and it creates this need for what the book calls chaos and control, all of it wielded through code.
So, you might be wondering, how did he get his hands on the tools to even start? The biography is brutally honest about this. He reportedly just admits it, saying something like, "I guess I kind of stole a computer and that's just where I began." No glamour, just a raw, illegal start. Early on, he apparently became fascinated by a very specific kind of malware, the remote access Trojan, better known as a rat. This little tool gives an attacker complete, total control over a victim's computer. And for him, this wasn't just code. He saw it as an unstoppable superpower. And this whole ideology, it becomes his identity. He picks the name Spydirbyte, and he adopts this personal motto, "Malware maketh the man." In his view, real power in the digital world came directly from the tools you could build and control. Okay. So we've established this really dark origin. But then, the story claims to take a major turn. He pivots from this world of personal chaos and digital power grabs towards something totally different, political hacktivism.
He says he joined the anonymous collective around 2009. He was drawn to a place with no faces, and so, no judgment. His mission became ideological. His goal? Exposing what needs to be exposed. He also connects this fight to his Native American heritage, saying it's basically in his blood to fight back when the system turns against people. So the book really describes two totally distinct phases of his life. First, there's the black hat past, where he admits to doing some really dark stuff, like selling stolen identities and even providing information for hitman services. He calls these things I'm not proud of and chalks it up to being numb from trauma. But then you've got this alleged activist phase, which is defined by these huge political operations. And the scale of the operations he claims to be a part of is pretty significant. The book lists his involvement in things like hitting Tunisian government communications during the Arab Spring, shutting down hundreds of police websites for Op Ferguson, and even engaging in cyber warfare against Russian and Iranian state actors.
and later targeting U.S. political groups like InfoWars and Moms for Liberty.
So, we're left with this incredible, almost cinematic story, right? This journey from a traumatized kid to a political hacktivist. But now we have to pull back the curtain and take a hard look at where this legend is actually coming from.
And this is the absolute crucial question we have to ask ourselves. After hearing all of these extraordinary, almost unbelievable claims, how much of it can we actually take as verifiable fact? The whole narrative is filtered through its author, Alberto Daniel Hill. He's a cybersecurity expert, sure, but he also has his own notable history with the justice system. He was actually the first person jailed for a computer crime in Uruguay, although it's important to note he was later cleared. The point is, he comes at this story with his own very unique perspective.
And then you get this critical admission from the biographer himself. He states that this is, and I'm quoting here, not a biography in the traditional, empirically verifiable sense. He's basically telling us that he's framing Spydirbyte not as a historical figure, but as a legend.
So what does that leave us with? Well, what we have is an authorized narrative. This is Spiderbite's story, told largely in his own words, and presented through the very specific lens of a biographer who is upfront about the fact that this is more legend than history. It's one version of a very, very complex story.
And that leaves us with one final lingering question. When you're dealing with figures who live behind aliases, whose stories are built on unverifiable claims and digital actions, what does truth even mean anymore? It's definitely something to think about long after this is over.